Grace, mercy, and peace from God our Father and Jesus Christ our Lord. Hi, this is Emery Barber of BeCreative Media, and we're glad that you are able to join us here again for part 3 of the Digital Media 101 Audacity series. No more excuses. It's time to be creative. As we get ready to begin, we hope that by this third video you have had an opportunity to plug into our creativity resource entitled BeCreative Audiobook. It's an opportunity for us to rehearse the very thought and notion to take ownership of our thoughts, dreams, and visions, investing our time, our talent, and our treasure from faith to fruition. You can purchase the download at Reverb Nation that's reverbnation.com/Emery Barber, or you can also listen to portions of it for free. You can also review the book and purchase the book at ebcreativmedia.com/books. We just know that it will be a blessing to you, so we invite you to do so. But as we get quickly to our point for gathering here today, we're going to breeze through quickly. Audacity, many of you have already downloaded it from our first video. In the second video, we're going right into it, and we're going to learn today by experience. We're going to create this project from scratch. Audacity software is a multi-track audio recording and editing software that is robust with features that are really intuitive. You'll be very familiar with certain things that you've utilized in things like Microsoft Word and PowerPoint, Excel. Many of the icons are already familiar to you in terms of pause, play, stop, skip to the start, skip to the end, record. And we've gone through many of these features in some of our other videos, so we're going to go into this really quickly. Today we're going to record a track that just simply brings praise to the Lord our God, Jesus the Christ. This is the day that the Lord has made. That's what I'm inspired to write this morning. And so we're going to make a multi-track recording here. We're going to start with this vocal here. Notice that I have my microphone set to my headset microphone, as it is. It has noise reduction technology already embedded. I recommend that you try this one. It's called the Plantronics C520. It is a headphone set with a noise reduction microphone. Again, it'll be very significant in your success to record digitally. And so I'm going to do the first track, record. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day the Lord has made. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. Stop right there. And we're going to do some singing and some talking for a moment here. And what I just did is I selected portions of that track to clean up, as we've done in past videos. I've intentionally waited 2 seconds so that I have a marker by which I can begin. And if I play that back through my speakers, let's change this to speakers for us to hear from. See if we have that set up right. Remember that you can play by going to the beginning and clicking play. And that's in my ear, but let's see if we can get this out where you can hear it as well. Another way for you to play would be to simply click in the quick play mode, which is just above the wave track, wherever you want to begin to play from. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day the Lord has made. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. Good. And so that's what I have there. I can also increase the sound from what you're going to hear by going to playback volume. Remember, we're learning experientially today. So I'm going to play that back at about 67. is the day, this is the day the Lord has made, this is the day. Good, so we have that. We're going to call that voice 1. I'm going to harmonize with that real quick as I go back to the beginning. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day the Lord has made. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. And you know, I'm big into naming your tracks so that you can keep a kind of order as you're creating so many tracks. You need to know what you're doing. I'm calling this voice track 2 simply because I'm building from the root of this chord. This being voice 1, this being voice 2. I'm going to do one more called voice 3. Skip to the start, record. This is the day. Okay, wrong voice. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day, this is the day. This is actually voice 3 because it's the third part of that harmony. And now I'm going to record voice 2. I want you to know that I want to encourage you to be unafraid to make mistakes. That's, to me, the key of learning. You learn by experience. And when you make mistakes, you know 3 or 4 or 5 or maybe at 10,000, as Tom Edison knew before he got the first flash of light, things that will not work as you are pressing toward your goal. Other people who may have the same mark may have to go through that all over again unless they're following in your tracks and learning from your mistakes. So feel free to do so. So we have this is the day, this is the day. We're going to record track number 2. This is the day. This is the day. Okay, threw myself off. Why did I throw myself off? Because I had the recording, I had the speakers on. I don't want the speakers on because I don't want the recording to bleed into the next track. So I'm going back to headphone there, and now I'll record again. This is the day, this is the day. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day the Lord has made. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. Okay. So now as we get ready to go and play back, another way to go to the beginning is to slide to the beginning. Another way to play, remember quick play there or play from here. I'm going to do a quick play. Okay. Now you can't hear what I'm playing there, so I'm going to go back to my speakers so that you can hear for the purposes of this recording. And there is a timing issue. And the reason there's a timing issue is because as I get ready to record, what I hear is actually being played a millisecond, or what I'm recording is being recorded a millisecond after what I've heard. So I have to correct that manually. You'll notice that as you look at this track here at the bottom. So I'm going to correct that by moving it. And I'm going to move this track a little bit closer there. And then I'm going to let you hear it. Here we go. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day the Lord has made. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. Okay. And so what we've done is we've recorded 3 tracks. We've got voice 1, voice 2 is actually here. I'm going to name that. And here's the beauty of it all. As you learn this, you're going to see in the view mode, you can see that there's certain shortcuts that you can begin to utilize. Collapse tracks would be Control Shift X. Expand all tracks would be X. Collapse tracks would be C, and you'll see those shortcuts right next to the command. So I'm going to collapse this track so that I can see everything at one time. I'm going to select the selection tool because I want to begin to kind of clean up a bit. I want everything to be neat as possible as I get ready to. It'll help you to see things better. I'm going to delete that data matter at the end. And now I have tracks 1, 2, and 3. They're not in order, so I can simply click on this track and move it up. And the reason it's not allowing me to do that now is that I have to actually, I believe, expand the track. Okay. We learn by doing. So I just selected it and moved it up, slid it up. Now I have that there. I'm going to expand a bit, and I'm going to listen to it again. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day the Lord has made. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. Okay, I've just made a 3-track recording there. I can duplicate the voices a little bit more, but the purpose of my duplicating the voices would be to give it a fuller sound, make it sound like there's more voices than there actually are. And to duplicate those voices, I can click okay, let's redo what I've just undone. Whenever you make a mistake, you can undo or redo. I'm going to redo the moving of that track. Did I remove the track? Yes, I did somehow. So I'm going to undo that, and then I have to remove or move again this track. Okay. Now, what I want to do at this point, and you know, sometimes in the creation process, you'll be thinking about it as you go. You'll be creating as you go. But I'm also taking this opportunity to show you certain features of this software. Now that I have these 3 tracks, I want to consider in my mind making it sound a little bit fuller. So I'm going to expand each of these tracks. And what I want to do first is highlight voice number 1. And I'm simply going to duplicate that track. I'm going to go to Edit and Duplicate, which you can also do as a shortcut by, as you see, clicking Control D. Duplicate. Now that track is going to show up underneath all of these tracks. I'm going to go here and I'm going to duplicate this one as well. This time I'm going to hit Control D, that's the shortcut. And then I'm going to go to track 3 and I'm going to do the same thing, Control D, to duplicate. Underneath that track, I'll see voice 1 again, which now, so that I don't confuse myself, I want to call voice 1 A. This next track I'll call, as you can see by my naming convention, voice 2 A. And then I'll go here and I'll do voice 3 A. Another thing I'm going to do with these particular tracks is I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. And my purpose for zooming in is because I'm going to, in making these tracks sound fuller, I'm going to collapse, and I want to take my A tracks and I want to move them slightly to the left. So I'm selecting all three tracks at the same time. Once I have them selected, I'm going to the very beginning of the track so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to use the time shift tool to move them slightly to the right, slightly behind the rest of the voices. Let's see what that sounds like. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day the Lord has made, this is the day. Good, I'm happy with that. So now I've only recorded it 3 times, but it sounds as if I have 6 voices there. Another feature I wanted to show you is in the process of mixing, you have, and you may have remembered me mentioning this in a previous video, you have left panning or right panning or center panning. What this allows you to do, left and right are the 2 channels that you're recording, which are basically your left speaker or your right speaker, or if you're thinking headphones wise, what you're hearing in your left ear or what you're hearing in your right ear. Because we have 2 ears. If you were at a concert, you might have a group standing before you, and you'll have certain voices on your left, certain voices on your right. As you begin to create, you can imagine, as it were, or visualize, as it were, who's in front of you and what do you hear. When you're recording in this particular fashion, you can begin to shape that sound as well. So that I'm going to have some, let's say, of my lower voices to my left. This one I'm going to put as the second person. Maybe he's 40% to the left, which means track number 1 might be 30 to 50% to the right. I mean, to the left as well. So I'm going to put him 40% to the left. Track number 2, I might then take and put 10% to the right, so that track 2A, I might put right next to that person. It'll make sense as you watch this video again and as you begin to visualize. Since I made that one 10% to the right, I'm going to make this person 20% to the right. And the reason I'm going to do that is because, excuse me, the higher voice, which might be my tenor in my scenario, I'm going to put maybe 30% to the right and 40% to the right. That's my higher voice. So that if I had a lead singer, that person is going to be right in the center, as they are the center of attraction, the focal point that I want to people to listen to. 40%. It'll change the sound in your headphones and in your speakers as you're listening to it. And when I do a final recording and I release this particular track, that's how people will hear it. But you can begin to visualize that and shape that as you're beginning to record. Let's see if I can hear that now. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day the Lord has made. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. This is, this is, this is. Okay, so I have all three voices there that I wanted to hear, and I have them duplicated and I have them panned in a way that I would like them to be panned. Now, what would be the center voice? The center voice would be the person who might be singing a lead in line with this. Instead of singing, I think I'm going to speak as I record this third voice. I'm going to click stop, pan to the left. I'm going to take the speaker and put it, or the sound, and put it in my earphone. And so I have, this is the day, this is the day, this is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has, the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. Okay, so in my mind's eye, I'm going to split it up. This is the day that the Lord has made. And because I'm just experimenting, I can play around with this until I find it where I ultimately want it to be. And if you were in the studio, you'd have less time. You'd want to rehearse this beforehand. But I'm actually creating as I'm sharing with you. I had a concept in my mind prior to recording this, but I'm developing it as we go. So I've switched it back to speaker for you to hear what I have thus far. Okay, and so that's the basic idea. I'm going to keep that, if you remember panning, I'm going to keep that right where it is. The panning is going to be center, and I'll show that to you in a moment. If we look here, the panning remains to the center, left and right. And now anything else I'm doing is regarding leveling and any sort of final edits. Leveling and final edits. Adding effects and this sort. Hear this, I'm breathing, I'm hearing. I can begin to silence that or reduce the sound of that. You'll remember in previous videos, we've actually just reduced that by flattening the equalization so that all portions of the sound are brought down equally. And I'm going to do that here as well. I can actually repeat that if you recall that feature that I last did by clicking Control R. So I've repeated that flattening or that reduction of that sound there. I'm not really satisfied with the time where it's located, so I can use the time shift tool to take it where I want it to be. I want this sooner. And I'm probably hearing it that millisecond later that I was telling you about, because what I've recorded is a millisecond behind what I'm hearing. Let's hear. Still a little bit late. You can begin to kind of eye it if you want to look to see where it is that you want it to hit, and that'll give you a good idea as well. And that's a little bit too soon. I'm just about where I want to be, so I'll do it from here. Okay, now has is the only portion that's off. I'm going to do a feature here. I could re-record this if I wanted to. Instead of doing that, I'm going to edit it. I'm going to click here, and I am going to go to Edit, Clip Boundaries, and I'm going to split. Good shortcut to remember, Control I, as I split it there. And I'm also going to, well, let's say, I'm going to move it here. I like where this particular sound is, so I'm going to split this to Control I. And I'll give myself some wiggle room by deleting, or should I say, yeah, I want to delete this, but in order to delete this, I need to mark where this sound behind it is, because it's going to move like that. So I've got 2 spaces to move, and I'm just going to move the first one by seeing where it's at. That's a little bit too soon for me. So I'm going back to my time shift tool. Selecting it. Okay. Go back to my selection tool. And apparently I'm going to need to move this first to get it out the way. It's not allowing me to move this. Okay. Made. Made. So I have I want made closer. Made. Made. Good. So now I'm a little bit more happy with where these sounds are falling. If I go back to the beginning, and I have 2, okay, that's the way I'd like it. Now, I don't think I can hear made the way I want to hear it loud enough. I can actually do the same thing in reverse. I can do that equalization feature, remember? I go back to equalization, however, I'm going to reverse it. I want to flatten it since I'm taking the entire volume up. I'm going to increase it by about 6, let's say 9 decibels. Click OK. Watch it get larger. And now I should hear an increase. Good. The reason I want that a little bit louder because I'm also going to take that same feature and I'm going to an effect called, what is that effect called? And you can search through these effects to see what it is that you like. I'm going to use echo. Now, I happen to know this by experience that the tempo that I'm recording at right now is about 90 BPMs for those of you who are a little bit more familiar with music. BPMs simply stands for beats per minute. Beats per minute, excuse me. Some people use the terms CPMs or clicks per minute. And what that basically says is this is a 4/4 time. And I know I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bars in each particular, 4 beats in each particular bar. So this is 90 beats per minute. And that's another academy that we teach in regards of music and foundations of rhythm and melody and the like, harmony. But in this instance, I know that, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because it's math as well. Sometimes we didn't think we needed, we would have to use this ever again in our real life scenarios, but this actually is a formula where we can, I'm not going to go into that formula right now, but suffice it to say, that formula lets me know that at 90 beats per minute, the echo that will be best suited for anything within that 90 beats per minute parameter is actually going to be 0.666. I don't like that number, as it is the number of the beast in the scripture, and so I bring it up to 667. And I found that that has been a nice pocket for me in most of the things that I'm doing in this realm at 90 BPMs. If I click preview, I can listen. Let's see what it's going to sound like here. Did it catch it? It did not. Echo. Let's make sure I'm looking for what I'm looking for. Yes, echo is the one I'm thinking about. Oh, here it is. It's delay. Delay will take me, and see, I've changed it here to 660, but number of echoes 3, clicking OK. Remember, I said it's okay to make mistakes. It's experiential learning. I thought it was echoes. It was delay instead. In delay, there are echoes embedded. And so let's see what that sounds like. Okay. I want that actually to be 2 echoes, not 3. So I undid it. I'm going back to delay. Here's why I want it to be 2, because the first one is already set. Click OK. And now you have it. Okay. Go back to the beginning. So as I get ready to play this particular track, I want to remind you that what we've done today is we have recorded 3 different tracks. We've actually harmonized on this track, not necessarily relevant to the audio recording, but more musicality involved. And this is an opportunity that we took to name the tracks, label the tracks so that we have more order. We've looked at panning so that we've been able to see that the primary voice, the spoken voice, is going to be centered. I can actually now level this one to be increased by gaining the decibels a little bit more than the rest of the tracks that I've already done. And so it should be a little bit more pronounced in the recording, and I can experiment with that. We've edited by getting rid of the things that we did not want. We've used equalization by flattening that feature. As opposed to taking down bass or treble, we reduced the whole sound or we increased the whole sound. We've understood what muting and solo is all about in previous tracks. We've utilized play, record, stop, skipping to the start. We've utilized features like selection tool, time tool. We've looked at the volume for the microphone, the volume for the speakers. We've zoomed in to use the time tool, time shift tool, so that we could move things rather than re-record them. And now as I get ready to listen to this again to see its readiness to record for the use that I'm going to engage, I can now Control Shift C, collapse this. I can highlight the area that I want to hear. If I want to see it all in a more truncated space, I can actually zoom out. That will allow me to see almost all of it at the same time. And then I can hit Shift. Look here at the play button. I can hit Shift, play. That will allow it to loop. I'm going to stop it there. And I'm pretty happy with that. I just want a little bit of reverb on it. So another effect. Come one scroll down to reverb. And I want to utilize a factory preset called Vocal 2 that makes it a little bit wet, but not um, a cathedral type of reverb resonance. I'm clicking that particular voice, and I want to remind you that you can actually adjust these yourself. It'll take a little bit of trial and error. Again, experiential learning is one of the best ways to go. And then you can save those settings using Save Preset once you've completed. I'm going to click OK. And I don't recommend necessarily saving with the actual effects unless you're sure that's what you want to keep. I recommend a dry recording in terms of making sure that you save as dry so that you can always go back and add other features later. And so, but just to listen. Okay, and so that's what I have. Again, I recommend, I'm going to undo this for a moment. Control Z. And the reason I'm undoing it is so that I can save it as a dry track. Project, save as. And remember, when you're saving as an Audacity track. The day, let's say, Lord has made. Okay, so we did made with 2 A's because I did another one with 1 A already. So I did that intentionally. Now I'm going to go back here and add that reverb that I liked. And the reason I'm going to add it here is because I'm going to save a version of it. Effect, reverb. Keep in mind that it's going to use the same setting that I've most recently used, so I can click OK with confidence. If I click play, that's what I'm looking for. I'm pretty happy with the mix. If I wanted to, I can go back into, I can expand, Control Shift, expand, and go into each of these and reduce the sound, balance it a little bit better if I wanted to. Now there's only one other thing I want to add, and that's rejoice. And I'll do that another time. As a matter of fact, I may not actually add the word rejoice. I think what I'm going to do as I notice that I have some sound happening just before it begins, I'm going to solo that. I can actually delete that since I have nothing there in the front, or I can silence it. You remember what silencing is. But I think I'm not going to use the word rejoice as it's audible. Because I'm going to use this in a video format, I am going to just allow the word rejoice to burst forth silently, but you'll be able to see it visually. Okay, I'm pretty content. More so because I've taken this opportunity to share with you the features of Audacity by actually working on a track. I'm going to unsolo this, and I am going to Control Shift C to collapse it. And then my final cleanup here, I am going to go here and silence any sound that would have been there. So now this is a clean start. And I believe I'm pretty good. Let's see. Good. So now, if I played it from the beginning, there's no sound for me to worry about. I can talk a little bit. Yeah. Good. I hope that this has been a blessing to you. This is Emery Barber that you have been with here at BeCreative.com. I want to invite you to grab a hold, purchase, download, share with your friends and family Be Creative audio book, taking ownership of your thoughts, dreams, and visions, investing our time, talent, and treasure from faith to fruition. You can purchase it or listen to elements of the book for free. Also, if you'd like to take one of our courses in our academy, we invite you to do so at ebcreativemedia.com. You could go to our learning center and you could register for a course right there. We can do it individually, or you can join us as we do corporate classes as well. This has just been another wonderful opportunity to share how we can begin to activate our gifts that the Lord our God has given us. We invite you to join us again. This is Emery Barber. I'm the pastor of Shepherd's House, Ocean Hill Branch, and this is ebcreativemedia.com online. And until the next time, may the Lord our God bless you real good.